Hey, let's have a conversation. I'm your host, Class, and this is my co-host.
Miss Pie.
And yeah, today we're gonna give you pretty much on this YouTube podcast a conversation about pretty much anything we can think of. And today, the winner of the coin toss is this lovely young lady over here.
Yes. So today's topic will be intuition.
Intuition.
Yeah. So I feel like it's really interesting to me. Mostly because intuition is something we all have, but not most of the time. I don't really hear anyone talk about it.
No,
So
no.
not many people talk about it.
Yeah.
It is considered to be like a topic of spirituality, but I believe intuition is like a deep sense of knowing, like a deep sense of just knowing something, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Like the definition is, I believe, is, how do I do this?
Yeah, we're on this. Bear with us, folks.
So we have in the dictionary, intuition is defined as the ability to understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning. And then the second, definition would be a thing that one knows or considers likely from instinctive feeling rather than the conscious reasoning. So I believe they're both kind of the same, the definitions. So it's like a deep sense of knowing something without the conscious reasoning. Like this, what they would you call it like a gut feeling?
Yeah, I would call it what we call a gut feeling. I think is what we call intuition. And if you're wondering where it all starts, I guess it's pretty much it. You know, it starts for everyone in every random age. Some people get intuition based on like meeting strangers for the first time. You know, they have a feeling about someone and they just kind of like don't want to be anywhere near that energy somehow. Some people get it. Meeting a friend of a friend. You know, someone you've never met before, introducing you to someone. You know, like a friend introducing you to a new friend, to their friend. Anyways. And then you have intuitions about those people. There's always this intuition or gut feeling we have. I feel like and sometimes in situations and scenarios where we also feel like we have a bad feeling, but we kind of like, don't, how do I put it? Like, we don't pay attention to it as much. Sometimes we kind of ignore it.
It's like a feeling you have, and most of the time because it doesn't filter through our mind because of the lack of conscious reasoning. It's just like a feeling.
Yeah.
We tend to dismiss it. And in reality, it's actually like a message from, I believe, ourselves or the universe or I don't know.
I mean, yeah, we a lot of people, like I said, there's always like we all have different interpretations on how we feel our intuition or gut feelings come from. They could come from a God in our perspective. It can come from a non-God. It can come from our gut feeling. It can come from the universe. It can come from anything. But we all kind of have it. You probably don't know that you have it, but you do have intuition. There are situations that every day you make as a judgment call that sorry about that. We were having some technical issues. Now we are back and adjusted. So what we were talking about as far as intuition and judgment calls that we make on a regular day basis that we're not even aware that it actually is an intuition or a gut feeling, is something we sometimes take for granted, or sometimes we just don't acknowledge it is a gut feeling. Sometimes we think it's something else, which is great. But we always have to acknowledge that we as individuals, as people, that we can come up with our own like feelings. We make the judgment calls in life certain times. We still make these choices. There's no set in stone kind of destination. There's multiple scenarios and decisions and situations. So your gut feeling is always the best way to find yourself, to get yourself out of a jam, or to at least figure before you get into a jam. Some people can, find them before. Anyways.
Yeah, exactly. So, we kind of decided to talk about this because it's interesting. It's kind of mysterious in a way. Like, where does this ability to just kind of know something before you reason come from? And it's something that guides us internally sometimes. That gut feeling that tells you don't go in there, and then for some reason you're like, you know what I mean? You tend to second guess it sometimes. They say if you want to make a decision, just let your intuition guide you. Pretty much what Deepak Chopra kind of advises is to close your eyes, to still the mind, then let your body kind of tell you what you're feeling. Like kind of
So
feel it out.
To kind of give like a scenario of like a gut feeling situation. I met someone in my life that I found when I met them, I didn't know how to put my finger on this person, but something about them just kind of screamed like troublesome. And when interacting with this person, I spent a little more time interacting with this person. I realized maybe it was just me, maybe I was going crazy, maybe I was just having like this weird like intuitional vibe or something like that I'm not really completely 100% aware of. It turns out that I was right about this particular person, but it's something we experience, but it's that gut feeling that I'm talking about. That's just an example. It's just knowing that sometimes there are moments when you can make a judgment call, but then there are moments when you don't make the right judgment call. And I feel like that's the time when you're young, when you're like in the teenage years.
It's kind of like for anyone that's ever been in a relationship where someone's cheated on you, like you have a feeling something's going on, but you just don't have the evidence yet.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of how intuition works, right? You just know, like, if you've ever been in that situation, you're like, oh, I know something's going on. I think you think you're crazy, and you're paranoid, and you just feel something's off. Maybe like a vibe.
Yeah.
Intuition, at the end of the day, is kind of like a vibe.
Yeah.
It doesn't lie to you. Yeah. It just, tells you, hey, something's up.
Yeah, right? For sure. No, like, yeah, and I feel like that's, and sometimes we make, like I said, like during the times, circling back to teenage years, I feel like those are the times we make the poorest decisions. So sometimes our gut feelings are a little bit over here, a little dicey. We're not 100%.
Because that goes with experience too.
Yeah.
Like if we had sat down with ourselves, knowing we have to consult with ourselves back then, I think we would have done it, but we didn't know any better.
Yeah, of course.
So it just comes with experience too. Like if you've ever had that happen to you where there's someone or some place that you just feel like it's off, something's off about someone. It only comes with experience. After you give that person a shot, let's just say, and you had that feeling before you got to know them, you decided to give it the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
It turns out they're crazy or something, and you're like, oh, I was right. Then that's how you know. In the future, you'll know that from now on, there's a reason why you felt a specific way about somebody.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes when you ignore your intuition or your gut feeling in those moments, you learn a life lesson, which makes you think about maybe considering it the next time, which is great. Because think about it, that one mistake where you're like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe I'm just off on this, or I don't know what I'm feeling. So people will make the mistake, and that mistake will teach them the lesson to be like, okay, I need to consider the next time I get in a situation like this and my gut or my intuition is giving me something. It's giving me some kind of hint. I need to kind of not ignore it. Because you don't know. Like, honestly, there are things in life that unfortunately happen that we cannot control. But these moments in our time where we have like a spider tingling sensation.
Yeah, spidey sense.
Spidey sense, on that. You actually do save yourself from a situation. Like I'm telling you, there have been times where I've been caught up where I'm worried, like, oh man, I have a bad feeling, and I was right. Like, and sadly, like you don't really realize it because you're like, how do I, like, maybe it's just you, because you're kind of crazy. It's not like your parents one day come and have like sit you down and like, all right, kids, come on, gather around. We're gonna have a conversation about
intuition,
gut feeling. Okay.
Listen to it.
No, don't listen to us anymore. Listen to your gut feeling. No, that will never happen. Okay, they're gonna be like, I'm your gut feeling. So I will say that sometimes when you're learning this based on personal experience, and sometimes people are nice enough to teach you these personal experience. There are people who educate you the right way about this. Some people will tell you some nonsensical opinion about what intuition is, or they'll kind of do a whole monologue about how intuition's like this or gut feelings are like this and this is how you should think it is. But in reality, it's everyone's opinion, and you should only listen to anything like that when it's based on somewhat, theoretical sense, I think.
Yeah, like give yourself the benefit of the doubt, because you are already experiencing, you should know by now. I would assume you have some kind of experience if you're watching this video.
Right.
Obviously, this doesn't apply to children because they don't know any better. But if you're somewhat grown and you know that you've dealt with a specific type of environment or specific type of people, then you just have this feeling, I guess you'll just know. Like for me, for example, I used to work in this office for bail bonds.
Yeah.
And I would automatically know right off the bat if there was a person walking in that was going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Or somebody that was remotely like off. And I would be like, oh no, in my head, I'd probably be like, maybe I'm wrong. And it ends up that I was right. I was like, oh, I did not know this person was going to be crazy. But I had a feeling. I don't know. I don't know how I knew. I just knew.
And yeah, to add on to that, it's like, that's what I think another key element to getting your gut feeling and intuition intact, one of those key things, tip, is observation. You have to be observant around your surroundings. That is one of the key fundamentally. I kid you not, it sounds paranoid, but I will go outside every day. I will look over my shoulder. I will check every part of my surroundings. Even if I want to feel uncomfortable listening to my music, I will still look over around me, because the reality is it's always about playing it safe. People say that, playing it safe, that's crazy talk. He's like, you can let loose every once in a while. No, just be cautious. He said, like, I had this incident where there was this security guard. I heard from another guard. I used to work as a security guard. And this other guard used to tell me, like, yeah, I remember a guy who used to work for a security company, working at a grocery store, and he was doing it for 15 years. And he never saw any action in his entire life. So he never really thought anything could occur. So one day he decided, hey, I'm just going to let loose, not worry so much. And he got caught off guard. They got him from behind and they killed him. Sadly, when you realize that you should, I'm not saying that, oh my God, you should be paranoid over the world, but I'm saying that just as an example of just being cautious is the most fundamental thing in life. You just have to be aware. That's why those gut feelings are good things, because they do help you in situations for good and bad.
Yep, exactly. And that's pretty much like where, that's the topic of discussion, just because I think it's really important for us to know that you have an internal guidance system at the end of the day. Like, even though we tend to second guess ourselves, we tend to doubt ourselves, we somehow just kind of know things.
Yeah, sure.
It I guess it's all about knowing yourself and knowing your environment. It's a deep sense of knowing, the definition says that. So pretty much, what they say nowadays, stay woke.
Yeah. So yeah, to kind of end on that, on a note. Yeah, that is a really good point. Stay woke. That means, like, considering, this is just to end on our crazy last minute statement. 2020 is an important year, especially for our politics. And it's about the time where we cannot be manipulated by just people telling us things and telling us this is the facts without any actual facts to prove it. do not let yourself get caught off guard by those who think they're more superior or more confident or well educated enough to tell you what they think is 100% accurate when they have no actual data for it. So always look your stuff up. That's one of the most important things I like to put out for that stay woke kind of situation. For your intuitions, for your gut feelings, for your observations. Anyways, we're gonna end it like that. If you guys loved this, please leave a like, a comment, share this, show some love, get
show us some love.
Subscribe to our channel, and we really appreciate it. I'm going to put out an email at some point for this channel so you guys can send us some feedback. Anyways, catch you guys later. Peace.